Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to share some technique tips to help you generate more whip on your strikes. So let's get into it. So when we talk about whipping the ball, we usually mean not only adding some curl to the ball, but also some topspin. So if I'm striking the ball right-footed, not only am I going to get some of that right to left movement, but also a little bit of up and down. So the combination of the two, going outside the post and above the crossbar, and then coming back inside, is really difficult for the goalkeeper to save. So first we need to talk about our approach to the ball. And unlike a typical strike, where we're a bit more flat with our run-up going behind the ball, we're approaching the ball from the side. So we need about a 90-degree angle from our target. So as a rule of thumb, I like to make sure my hip and my shoulder on my non-kicking side is facing my target. So if I was aiming for that top right corner there, my hip and my shoulder are both facing that target, which is going to allow me to really wrap around the ball. And the key with this strike is to keep that shoulder and hip facing the target until the ball has left your foot. It's very tempting for players to start wrapping around the ball early before they've even struck the ball, but you want to stay disciplined through that technique, making sure that shoulder and hip are always facing your target. So when you get it out your feet, you're wrapping around it, and you can get it into that side netting. So we're approaching the ball 90 degrees from our target, and we want to make sure our strides are long, smooth, and powerful. We don't want to be taking these stuttery steps and taking a bunch of them before we strike the ball. We're going to lose all momentum behind that strike. So instead, we want to be on our toes and take 2 to 3 wide strides. And then that final step, when you're planting beside the ball, you really want to lunge into it. These smoother but wider strides allow you to generate so much more momentum, which is going to add power to your strike. To generate spin on the ball, you really want to be aggressive with your kicking action, so your run-up is really going to prepare you for maximum backswing. And when we plant beside the ball, we're away from our target because we're allowing the spin and the follow-through to take the ball towards our target, and our ankle wants to be directly through the middle of the ball. If we're too far behind it when we plant, we're probably going to stretch for it, get underneath it and send it over the bar. And if our foot's too far in front, we're going to get on top of that ball and hit it into the ground. So begin with a stationary ball so you can work on the foot placement correctly. And then once you gain confidence with that, start to implement moving balls into your repetitions so you can work on the timings. And what's really important is that you have good stability in this planting leg. So when we're planting beside the ball, have a slight bend in your knee so that you're really balanced. This is going to allow you to have a lot more control over the strike. So let's piece it together here. We're approaching our target 90 degrees, firm with our planting foot, staying away from our target and whipping it into that side netting. So we're planted beside the ball, we're 90 degrees from our target, and we're all set up for the striking action, which is the most important part of any shooting technique. So we need to add to that momentum that we've already generated in our run-up. So to do so, we want to maximize our backswing, which is the distance our leg covers before it strikes the ball. So the higher we lift our foot, the greater the distance between that swinging action, which is going to generate more energy, which will eventually add more power to the strike. So this applies to every shooting technique, especially whipping. You want to maximize that backswing. So as you can see, as I'm swinging, my foot is coming from almost hip height there. And then as we swing through the ball, the opposite arm also comes across our body. So it's almost as though our leg and our arm cross. This arm swinging across the body in the opposite direction really gives leverage for you to swing across your body with your kicking leg. So really important, raise it for balance and then swing across your body as you strike. Now let's talk about contact areas on the ball and the foot. So if we were to split this ball into 4 quadrants, we're aiming for this lower right side as a right-footed player. So we're striking right on the instep here, this area between the inside of the foot and the big toe, and we want to raise our toe so that we can not only get some right to left movement, but add a little bit of top spin. So instead of the ball moving perfectly this way or perfectly this way, it's in between the two. So it's creating this effect, which is going to allow it to go up and down, but also from right to left. So you'll notice as I'm striking it, my toe is slightly lifted to allow me to get in between those two effects. And with any striking technique, really important to lock that ankle. So flex all the muscles around that ankle joint so that your foot is rigid, so it's a nice firm surface to connect with the ball. This is going to allow you to get a cleaner strike. So as we approach the ball, max backswing, lower right quadrant, and we can whip it into that far side. And the final step of this technique is our follow through. And this is an area of technique I see a lot of players overlook. They're very focused on everything that happens before the strike, but not so much about what happens after the strike. And what we do after we've connected with the ball is almost as important as what we do before it to get the desired effect on the strike. So after we've struck that ball, what's really important here is to mimic the action that we want the ball to create. So whatever we do with our follow through is going to have a direct impact on the flight of the strike. So if I follow through straight towards my target, the ball is also going to travel straight through the air. But because we're trying to generate some whip, so from right to left and also some up and down, we need to do that action with our foot. So not only do we need to go across our body, which is creating that curling effect, but we need to go up and over. And then we want the ball to come down on the opposite side. So we need to make sure we lower that foot back to the ground as quickly as we can. So if we piece it all together, we connect with the ball, making sure our chest is over the ball as we make contact. We're striking up and over, our foot then goes towards our target, and then we want to get our foot back on the ground immediately. That's going to allow the ball to go up, right to left, and then down on the opposite side. And my final tip is to stay focused on the ball until after it's left your foot. It's very tempting to strike the ball and immediately want to look up and see where it's going. But if we take our eyes off the ball too early, the chances of us connecting on the exact part of the ball with the exact part of the foot we want start to go down. So as we strike through the ball, we're staying focused on that exact area of the ball we're making contact with, and then after we've completed the entire technique, then we can start to look at our target. But making sure we stay fixated on that area of the ball we want to strike through the entire action. So there we have it, some technique tips to help you generate more whip on the ball. Then of course, once you've gotten all this information, the most important part is getting out there and getting those repetitions in. Although we have to think about these steps at first, eventually after enough repetitions, you'll get to a point where you perform these actions naturally and you don't have to think about all of the different steps, but you'll just piece it all together and it will become automatic during a match. So get out there and get those repetitions in and you'll see yourself improving. But I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, make sure you smash the like button, hit that subscribe button for weekly training videos, and I'll see you guys in my next video.